So without any further ado, in a moment, I'm going to ask the volunteerism group. In fact, you guys can start coming up to the front while I share your project topic. And for those groups that have designated some time to actually describing the topic, you can remove that from your presentation if you'd like, because I will be sharing the topic as you guys go up. So please go up. I'll ask you to introduce yourselves in a moment, and then you can obviously sit back down once you push play. The volunteerism group's project is as follows. Community organizations are seeing an increasing need for volunteerism. This project involves exploring the landscape of volunteerism in the community and coming up with strategies and activations that inspire involvement and participation. The project team will explore the many ways available for contribution that goes beyond the confines of money. This project will address how to build a culture of volunteering or active participation and citizenship within the community. In addition, exploring how to engage with young adults, with the youth, to gain buy-in, increase their exposure to the community, and also to consider roles whilst connecting people to a purpose and a cause. So with that, please step up, introduce yourselves, and take it away. It's fine, go for it.
Hi, I'm Melanie Levy, part of the volunteerism team.
Ariel Simaruk.
Leila Saven.
David Epstein.
Nicola Harris.
Karen Coleman.
Cool, thank you guys. And yeah, can we give them a round of applause?
The UJC has the mammoth task of ensuring the health, vitality, and sustainability of the Cape Town Jewish community through charitable giving, looking after one another by uplifting, empowering, and inspiring, and promoting a value of inclusive Jewish belonging. But what if you find yourself in our beautiful city as a young student at university, or don't have a child in the United Herzliya school system? What if you don't belong to a shul or have any connection to the Cape Town Jewish community? How do you get involved? Volunteering is an aspect of charity often not given its rightful respect, both from a Jewish and a community perspective. Giving of time is as important as giving of money, and our exploration has taken us into the minds of the volunteer as well as the Jewish communal organizations that need volunteers, to ensure that every resource is utilized for the benefit of the collective good. Come along with our team as we explore our key action learning on our Elliot Osran leadership journey, where our brief is the who, why, and how of volunteering in the Cape Town Jewish community. The overview of our presentation is split into key components and follows the themes of volunteering, our process, the COVID-19 landscape, research results, Judaism and the ethics of volunteering, our proposal, product development, and activation. Let's begin with the concept of volunteering.
What is volunteering? Volunteering is difficult to define, as we all have preconceptions and stereotypes when it comes to volunteering. Some may visualize groups of elderly women with purple rinses knitting socks for orphans, while others may think of a dynamic and successful non-profit effecting social change in underprivileged communities. The core elements of volunteering are threefold. It involves an investment of time, there is no remuneration, and it aims to benefit an individual, a group, or the environment. Since the 1960s, volunteering has been growing in popularity, and there now exists a large body of volunteer research to draw on. Over the decades, the sector has become more formalized and opportunities to volunteer have diversified.
Our introduction to Nikki Goldman, who heads up the Jewish Volunteer Network in the UK, was the exciting starting point of our investigation. Nikki gave us in-depth time and analysis of the themes amongst UK volunteers, which are not dissimilar to our own. The UK concentrates on a more formalized volunteering approach, simply because of the numbers of Jews wishing to get involved, but they also have a problem sustaining, managing, and placing volunteers. They are currently undergoing a website and volunteer app overhaul and said they would be more than willing to share their intellectual property with us once completed. COVID-19 in the UK has also radically changed the landscape of volunteering, as more young people are putting their hands up to volunteer and to look after the elder members of the community by delivering food and medication. Nikki wasn't sure whether this could sustain. Nikki gave us 3 clear takeaways and the message from which we have built our campaign. 1. Volunteering needs to sit as a chair at board level within the South African Jewish Board of Deputies and be held accountable to key performance indicators and have measurables against which to measure success. 2. There needs to be a form of appreciation or recognition of the volunteer. And 3. Her phrase, "each one, reach one," resonated with us in terms of engaging those who are not sure how to get involved. Our second step was to interview several key stakeholders within the organizations that required volunteers and to find out how they went about securing them. We spoke, amongst others, to the food bank, Chabad on campus, the CSO, a youth student leader, and a rabbi within a shul setting. The commonalities that we found were the following. The communal organizations have a very siloed approach to volunteering, and their needs are all distinct and different. For example, the CSO requires physically able volunteers to undergo rigorous training, whereas the food bank needs reliable drivers with their own vehicles as well as administration support. The message from all of them was the same. The personal ask from within your own network is vital if you want people to show up and help. There is definite scope for the organizations to market themselves better and to get their needs across to the community in a meaningful way and to collaborate with one another. Our third and final step to gauge the attitude and engagement of volunteering within our community was a questionnaire which was sent out to a wide sample of demographic and age group, and the data that came back was very illuminating. With the onset of COVID-19, the volunteering landscape in Cape Town changed dramatically. We interviewed the same organizations 8 months later, and the picture was completely different. There's been a 100% increase in those receiving food parcels from the food bank, measured from December 2019 to December 2020. This has necessitated the need for another permanent driver to assist with the deliveries of these bulk food parcels. The CSO Wellness campaign, also launched towards the end of last year, had the CSO actively involved in the monitoring of all those COVID-positive patients within the Jewish community. The same way the landscape changes rapidly, so too will the needs of the organizations in a volunteering capacity. This needs to be taken cognizance of when developing various campaigns and protocols depending on where we are in the pandemic.
Who are the volunteers? Understanding the volunteer was important to our project, and as Melanie has mentioned, we approached this by reviewing volunteer research, attempted our own survey of people's attitudes towards volunteering within the Cape Town Jewish community, and held a number of dialogues with individuals and organizations. What did we learn? Our first insight was that there are 2 forms of volunteering, formal and informal. Formal volunteering has many of the characteristics of a formal job, such as an interview, background checks, conditions of service, and indemnity and confidentiality agreements. Informal volunteering occurs without these requirements or restrictions. So how many people volunteer? Research from both the UK and North America indicate that about a quarter of adults volunteer on a regular basis, while the Kaplan Center study of Jews in South Africa reported that 51% of respondents had done some volunteer work in the preceding 12 months.
Age and volunteering. Volunteering rates vary with age, and people are most likely to volunteer between the ages of 35 and 45, and least likely to volunteer in their early 20s. Lack of time, negative perceptions of volunteering, and poor socialization into volunteering roles are cited as reasons for poor volunteering rates among young adults. One of our dialogues with a youth volunteer highlighted enjoyment and the social aspect of volunteering and the importance of social media to the volunteering experience. Influencers were identified as important in motivating young people to start volunteering. What about volunteering and gender? The majority of volunteers are women. Volunteering patterns differ between men and women, and both the motivations and the barriers to volunteering are gender specific. There are no data on the volunteering patterns of the LGBTQ community. So why volunteer? This proved to be one of the most interesting aspects of our research. The obvious reasons include philanthropy with ideological alignment with a cause, driven by opinion leaders or respected people within the community as a means of social participation, and a step towards formal employment. However, one of the recurring themes was volunteering for personal satisfaction and enrichment. This was best summed up by research that showed that people would rather volunteer than work extra hours at their regular job and donate the money towards a cause, even if they knew that donating the money would be more effective. Other important volunteering concepts from international research, our own survey and interviews are that volunteers prefer to use their existing skills when volunteering, and the importance of acknowledging the work of volunteers through formal functions, awards, and media articles.
Jewish tradition teaches us that people must play an active role in the world. The concepts of tikkun olam, chesed, and mitzvot express the value of volunteering in Judaism. The world may be imperfect, but we have not only the opportunity, but really the obligation to help make it better, more whole. In fact, the world really depends on people being active, not only in their own lives, but in their community's destiny too.
Through the research and process which we followed, we have identified 3 components that are crucial to deliver a long-term and sustainable culture of volunteerism within our community. These approaches are strategic, operational, and tactical. The strategic objective, based on our research, is to centralize the volunteering model. This would include a centralized volunteer management team. The team would comprise of a representative from each organization. The representative's responsibility would include managing their actual organization's volunteers. Our recommendation is that the chair of the Volunteers Committee is a member of the South African Jewish Board of Deputies. The representation on board level is a crucial aspect to ensure longevity and sustainability of the initiative. Their responsibilities would also include managing an annual budget for campaigns as well as volunteer appreciation. They would also be responsible for outcomes and evaluation of the volunteering project with a set list of measurable and project-based outcomes. The centralization could initially be held in an existing organization, such as Staffwise. We are conscious about the need to leverage off existing infrastructure and to not create further complexities within the community. The opportunities for centralizing would include the ability of each organization to leverage off one another's knowledge, resources, skills, and learnings. It would also allow volunteers to have a greater visibility of other organizations and allow for greater cohesion across our community organizations. Based on our research, this would be the first formalized volunteer exchange project in South Africa. The second component of our findings is the operational one, which Nicola will present in greater detail when she does a demo of the website. We would like to note the importance, however, of the personal ask. We found that the depth of involvement and relationship between organization and volunteer is more stable and meaningful when approached personally. This was a common theme from the onset of the program, where we found community leaders had fulfilled their role when called upon. The third and final component of our findings is the tactical approach. This will be presented by Ariel as he discusses the activation and education elements.
This portion of our presentation takes a look at what our concept would look like in reality. It forms the operational arm of our volunteering approach. Welcome to the Connect Cape Town volunteering website. At first look, on the navigation bar, you can see some site basics. Then we have We Need You Here, which is the page of all the organizations. You can click on the page or access them directly from the drop-down menu. What Can You Do is directed at the volunteer, and a drop-down says Mix and Match, which I'll show you later. Documents is a page containing all the relevant forms that volunteers are sometimes required to fill out depending on the requirements. Calendar is the Jewish communal calendar. Gallery showcases volunteer experiences. A fully functioning website would require considerable back-end structure to link the site to the community calendar and database to create an integrated system. Before you can begin to search the site, you need to register or log in. This is vital from a security perspective first of all, but once a person creates an avatar or user profile, they're providing information that becomes vital to create the skills database on the site. So let's use the site. I can either use this tab or scroll down and open What Can You Do from here. In an ideal scenario, we are seeing people exploring opportunities to use talent that they didn't even realize could be useful to others. We are seeing organizations who can draw on a pool of ready and willing participants, and perhaps creating jobs for those skills they didn't realize they could benefit from. Moving on to the page which represents the organizations, We Need You Here. This is by no means the extent of the incredible list of organizations in Cape Town. When you arrive on this page, you'll have an opportunity to appreciate the full extent of what this community does. And for those who say they don't know, this will form a comprehensive summary. It's the first step in encouraging newcomers to become involved. Scroll over each icon and see a brief summary of each organization. Click on the icon, in this case the food bank, and you'll get a more in-depth description. Part of our process will be to help organizations create personal videos from the directors to create the element of a personal ask in order to encourage people to get involved. Click here and we see that the food bank needs another driver and IT person. These may not be the skills you are offering, but you can, however, contact the organization from this page. Mix and match is like the sweetie box of skills needed. The idea here is to encourage people to realize what they do in their normal lives can be a valuable skill in someone else's. You can also see that they range in skill level from medical security and accounting, for example, to reading and babysitting. Fun, accessible, and easy. The kind of website that would draw any one of us in to want to use and thereby encouraging the volunteering process. As Lauren Kahn said when we interviewed her for our research, when people get involved, they become invested in the organization. They see what's required and want to get more involved. The success of this site will be to connect all the organizations together into one cohesive collective. Connections are made between organizations. There's a synthesis of skills and people power, drawing our community together toward one cause.
We identified from our research that organizations have vastly different volunteer requirements and varying capacity to manage the volunteering process. We believe that the best approach is focusing on one organization at a time, where Connect Cape Town will help with onboarding the current volunteer base to the site. This gradual approach will enable adjustment of the site to the actual needs of each organization while providing assistance in the setup to help with adoption by both the organization and the volunteers. Once a couple of organizations have been added to the site, we envision the creation of promotional material for distribution through various Jewish organizations. Encourage the school to promote the use of the site for searching for different mitzvah projects, as well as aligning with existing volunteer days. An additional activation idea is to promote a volunteering pledge drive.
Connect Cape Town is our proposal to elevate volunteering from a poorly understood and coordinated resource to a professional, innovative and seamless exchange, matching informed and educated volunteers with appropriate community organizations, while maintaining the important personal ask and each one reach one philosophy. Ioli provided a good foundation as we began this project with new insights into our community, organizational behavior, and self-awareness. Our experiences as individuals in the group shifted and evolved during the course of this project, whether dealing with logistics, interviews, data analysis, or creative tasks. Culminating in this presentation, each of us came to the fore, bringing our strengths to the process. We were always patient and respectful of each other, particularly when outside influences were affecting our enthusiasm and focus. We were a great team. Nicola Harris deserves a special mention. Without her skills and effort, Connect Cape Town would not be the awesome product it has become, and if realized, the first formal volunteering exchange platform in South Africa. I would like to thank you for your attention and hope you enjoyed this presentation as much as we did preparing it. Verve, thanks to you and the Ioli faculty for allowing us to be part of this outstanding leadership program.
Absolutely awesome. Guys, please join us up front for the Q&A section. Well done. That was amazing. Really, really wonderful. Yeah, please come join us. And in a moment, I'm going to invite Nikki Goldman to get ready to share her insights and feedback with us. As the group mentioned, Nikki is the director of the Jewish Volunteers Network, and she comes to us live from London. She's also the former director of a leadership institute called LEAD, and we are so grateful to have her join us this evening. Nikki, please unmute yourself, and over to you.
Hello, everybody. Very nice to be part of this, and how exciting to be part of a hybrid event. It occurred to me that this may be the future of events that we have, and it enables all of us to be able to connect across the world. So thank you very much for inviting me to be here. It's actually really weird to see people in a room, because we haven't seen people in a room together for an awfully long time, but I'm glad you're all together. Can I just start by saying Kol hakavod to Viv and to the team. What an amazing program this is. And from my leadership development background, I can see what a fantastic, fantastic initiative this is. So well done to everybody for bringing this all together. And then next to the team, to the volunteerism team, really amazing, you know, from the place that you started with this to meeting you. I can't even remember what point in the year it was, and we had all these conversations when you were just evolving it to where you've taken this. Absolutely fantastic. I really take my hat off to all of you. What an amazing job that you've done. every bit of it. So actually the fact that you've thought through every aspect of getting to this place, and you've created the website as well and created the structures around it, I just think is absolutely fantastic. I do have a couple of points. One is a question actually about age bracket, because I think it's something that we discussed when we met, that JVN only operates with over 18s. We don't deal with young people because there are other organisations in the British Jewish community who work with young people and volunteering. So we only work 18 plus, and you talked about going into the schools, so I wasn't sure whether that was to promote volunteering to them or to their parents. So that's one question. A point about young adults. We also are focusing on young adults. We know that that sort of 18 to 30s are a key group, and maybe it's something we can continue to work on together as we evolve that as to how to target young adults. The other piece is about the importance of partnership with the charities or the organisations. Now, I know your model is slightly different to ours because you're going to bring the organisations together to be that central group, which is different from us because we're an independent organisation. But I suppose I can't stress enough, and I'm sure you know this, the importance of partnership with the organisations, because that's what it's all about. It's all about having that central place to bring in the volunteers and then to ensure that they go out to the organisations, but with the organisations giving back that information to the central body. And it's that exchange of information and that concept of partnership that is particularly important. So those are my few points, and I look forward to seeing how this evolves, and happy to be of any help going forward.
Nikki, thanks for the insights and the observations. I think because it's a community, where am I looking at, Nikki? Because it's a community-based organisation, we do want to start at school level. We have very, very, very close ties with the schools, and we would probably aim it at a bar or bat mitzvah level initially, as try and get them involved at that kind of, almost have a campaign around it to say, you know, if you want to have volunteering as part of your bat mitzvah or your bar mitzvah program, to get involved at that stage. But the school initiative, we believe, needs to start from entry level, when the kids go to school, and we hope that that would foster and engender a culture of volunteering from a very young age.
Fantastic, thank you. So I'm going to take it to the floor. If you guys have any questions or feedback, perhaps just one or two, any thoughts, comments or questions, and I'm going to come through with a microphone and chat to you guys. So yeah, anyone would like to share any comments or questions? Any feedback? Yes.
We spelled your name wrong.
So first of all, I would really like to congratulate you on an outstanding presentation.
Thank you.
As you know, you asked me lots of questions, and what you've put together here is nothing short of phenomenal. And you hit the nail on the head. So well done. Really, I mean it, well done. It's not easy to do this. It's not easy to understand volunteers, and it's not easy to get reliability, like I said. But what I can say is once you've got the right volunteers, you're A for away. Really, well done.
Thank you, Lauren. Any others? Any other questions or comments?
I totally echo what Lauren said. You guys were fantastic. One of the things that stood out to me that I would like to see expanded on, if this goes into like a formal project, is the idea of like the gendered kind of links between how people volunteer, the times that meetings potentially are, and how that affects the different genders in terms of what they can do and what their responsibilities are. Because I think that's something that's going to come up more and more in our Cape Town community going forward.
Thank you. Does anyone want to respond to that? No? Good.
We are aware that the gender thing, I think the gender thing is just also a time issue. I think more women have time, in terms of employment, etc., or flexibility of hours. But we are cognizant of that, the gender thing. One of the things that really, really resonated with us was the idea of a pledge day. So, we are always all being asked for money. And one of the things it happened one year at our shul at Yom Kippur. We opened our pledge cards, but instead of being asked to give money, we had to give time-based mitzvot. And for us, that was just a huge eye-opener in terms of saying, you can give. It doesn't always have to be financial. So, to have a pledge day to coincide with either Mensch's Mitzvah Day or our own independent campaign, depending on where we are, is something that we're very passionate about, because that will also talk across the genders of saying everybody needs to commit to a time-based volunteer aspect.
Fantastic. Thank you, Melanie. We've got a question there in the corner.
Mel, I just want to say, about the gendered perspective. Do you need the mic for the... Okay. So about the gendered perspective, it's not just about that women predominantly have time. It's about actually changing the mindset of men. And this is something that I have very much found during COVID. I mean, I'm currently involved in a group that's doing work with fathers throughout Africa with disabled children. And it's often men just don't have it in their toolbox, and you need to actually have some brand ambassadors, dare I say, and some actual training that actually shows men that it's a possibility. Because men have the time, it's just that they think that it doesn't exist in their wheelhouse.
I think the pledge would go a long way to that as well, because the pledge kind of it's time-based, it's not gender-based, it's not. So that is something that we have thought about.
I have one. Can I make one more comment and go to the mic?
Yes, a quick comment, and then we'll move on to our next group.
Just that there's a question I'm surprised no one has actually asked, because we've kind of asked that within ART, is how do you consolidate the personal ask emphasis that we've made with the concept of supposedly an impersonal website. And I think that when it comes to the gender issue, it's going to be incumbent on the leaders in our community, both male and female, and being a patriarchal community, a lot of it can be male, especially like in the shul environment, whatever, to be able to draw people into the website on a continuous basis, not just as a launch, and also to start opening up that debate to the entire community on a regular basis. And that needs to be part of our campaign.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, and well done, guys. Can we give them another round of applause? That was amazing. You're welcome to come take a seat. Thank you.